Desk once again. Last time you were here was April of 2014. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah. We'll keep the excitement.
I just didn't know if I was in trouble
this.
at that point.
No, you're not. We're keeping the excitement right
I've been
here.
set up before.
No, you're not. You're not in trouble. Okay, so listen. Last time you were here, you were promoting Draft Day.
Right.
You were the GM of the Cleveland Browns. Let's fast forward to right now, because that organization is in some trouble. So obviously, their starting quarterback is a free agent. Their backup quarterback's in rehab.
Yeah.
They have a star wideout that's suspended from the league.
Yeah.
And they're under investigation for perhaps texting from the sideline.
Yeah.
Violating league rules.
Right.
If you're the GM in real life, how are you handling the Cleveland Browns?
Well, I could fix the texting real easy.
Yeah, no texting.
I mean, that's a really, knock it off, or, that has to stop. How do you, that's the puzzle. That's what GMs are supposed to be doing. We got a couple minutes here. I don't know what I do, but I do know that, my thinking's changed a little bit about Johnny, only in the sense that, for a long time, it was, what Johnny was going to have to prove to other people. I think he's in this very unique spot now in his life where he has to kind of maybe prove something to himself. There's something where maybe doubt has creeped in, because he's seen how big, he's seen how fast, he knows he can play. There's stuff hasn't gone right. So this guy has shifted into a unique spot where it's not about me against the world. I think this is something that he has to prove something to himself, or he might find himself where some unique talents that we've seen come into the league suddenly are gone. And that's where he is. So he has a chance to rewrite his own story. It should be really interesting to watch. What you do without three players, you go get, I like their quarterback for you. But I also was watching that last game, that Buffalo game, and I thought, man, there's, that's a really tough thing. Do you move on, or what do you do? I don't know. And I don't like to talk about men's careers myself. I'm not comfortable.
I understand.
Why is that? Why are you not comfortable with it?
Because I know one time, it's a good question. I know Albert Brooks, I heard a story about him one time where somebody just really, really trashed his movie to a higher executive. And for whatever reason, that executive went, yeah, I agree. And suddenly he was out of his office. And it was like, the story was more elaborate and it was more authentic than I would have been able to present it. But I thought, you got to be really careful, when you tear another man down, because you're usually tearing down somebody else's hero.
Wow.
And it's hard.
Wow.
My dad told me that one.
Go ahead.
We all have some degree of athletic frustration, and you seem to have as much as any of us do, but you've had the outlets to sort of realize some of your athletic frustration through your movies.
Yeah.
So you've done 4 baseball movies, and I think you walked on at Cal State Fullerton to pitch and didn't work out.
Yeah, never made that team.
Didn't make that team, but Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, For the Love of the Game, Upside of Anger, all baseball-related movies. You still, we were just talking in the break before you came on, you have a place in Austin, you still stay close to the University of Texas baseball team, you'll go out occasionally, take ground balls at short, maybe pitch a little BP.
Yeah.
And I've often wondered, what would you have given up? Would you have given up being a movie star to be a Major League Baseball pitcher, a successful pitcher? Have you ever thought about what you would
I thought about that, but I wouldn't. I had all the pictures up in my bedroom and Sports Illustrated on the wall. That would be a very tough choice, but listen, you could be a very successful baseball pitcher and never end up in the bathtub with Susan Sarandon. That's a movie, okay? That's the difference. And and I'm still playing. I did pitch a perfect game at Yankee Stadium. I have ridden with the Buffalo. I have had a pretty full life that I'm in an industry now where my imagination can take me to a lot of places. But I have imagined all those games. Watching probably from 66 on. I was talking to somebody, I was talking about my first program that I remember watching on TV, and there was this guy, he was 66, and he didn't have any teeth. and he looked like he was intimidating everybody on his team. And my dad said, that's Ray Nitschke. And we were rooting for the Rams because he lived in Los Angeles. But you could see a level of ferociousness. And I don't think I ever missed a game. So whenever we see these slow motion montages that still manage to make us cry, whether it's basketball, baseball, or football, I've seen those games because I made it a point in my life to watch.
You know, I'm thinking about it now while I watch, just looking at your movies, and I can't wait to see McFarland USA. I'm thinking about this, it along these lines. When you think about these sports movies, is there anything that you haven't done that you're aching to do?
No, I would have liked to play football as a player, maybe played the quarterback or something. Haven't really had that chance, but you know, something like McFarland, I never even knew was going to come along. And interestingly enough, I played McFarland in high school. I lived up in the Central Valley. I've been around migrant farm worker kids, you know, almost my whole life. Went to a little Mexican barrio school called Satacoy. So the kids I went with, I fought with, I played against, were pickers. Their parents were pickers, and so. You know, and then I read this story in Sports Illustrated about 20 years ago, 15 years ago, about McFarland, this little school with no identity, undersized kids who end up winning 9 state championships because one man shows young kids what maybe is possible. Wow. And that's what I love about sports. One guy says what's maybe possible, and what happens when we give that to somebody. Sometimes they exceed beyond our expectations. None of these are Division I athletes. None of these are kids we're ever going to see in pros. But an identities form, a mythology takes over their town, and they're never the same.
So Magic Johnson was here yesterday sitting in that seat and told us a great story about an earlier birthday of yours back in the maybe the later 80s, right? I don't know which number it was, but it was a big one.
Yeah.
And you asked Magic if he could get the keys to the Forum and play a little pickup game.
He did, and somebody said, "Hey, it's hockey season." They were driving me in a limo, and I go, "No, I can't." And they go, "No," and I went in, and the floor was there, and Magic, who is as good as there ever was, probably for me the best basketball player for me for a lot of different reasons. It played. And, you know, his team won again, but he made it good for everybody.
And Tiger Woods was there?
Yeah, Tiger was there. Yeah, it was just a really, you know, it was an interesting thing. It was a surprise, but again, Magic gathered Kurt Rambis, and I do remember something about playing against him. Just held his hand out and just held me. And it was like, when you play against a professional athlete, it was like, no, you know, I could play a little bit, but it was like, really, the stiff arm was out there, Kurt and these guys, and you go, wow. But one of my friends actually cut that video together, and there was one shot that went in, and he duplicated that shot 30 times. So whenever anybody shot, it was like a bad movie. So from different angles. But if you shot in my video, you made it.
I got to ask before we let you get out of here. I got to ask you this. I want you to share with everybody. You and I were talking about the Super Bowl. You watched the Super Bowl. You saw the outcome. That last play, Skip and I have gone back and forth. I had a big time problem with it.
Yeah.
Skip didn't have so much of a problem with it.
Well, it depended who you were rooting for, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts watching that play?
I didn't have a problem at all. If I was the Patriots, I was so afraid they were going to give it to Marshawn. I didn't. It was all going downhill. But I have watched sports all my life, and the oddest things happen on the last play. And the fan who gets up and goes in because they're so pissed off they're losing their money, they missed that last play, and magic happened.
Yes.
Something happened. Whatever happened, it was sports at its most real, most raw, and most insane. And you think, it happened. It happened. And, you know, maybe he drops a pass the next play they run in. Maybe he throws out into the corner, and the guy's sitting there 15. They go, wow, the Seahawks, what a victory. But it didn't happen.
Right, that wasn't it.
It wasn't there. And we've seen that before. We've all seen that before. And to see it at the highest level just reminds us of why we kind of love this game and hate it all at the same time.
Maybe there's a movie there.
Yeah. It might be.
In closing, you have Black or White still in theaters.
Yes.
Excellent film.
I'm going to see that this weekend.
I hope you do.
I'm going to see.
I made it for. We talked about it last time. I made it for you. And McFarland, go see these little
February
Chicanos.
20th.
These little guys who turned around and won 9 state championships when no one gave them a shot at anything. But Black or White I made, and we talked about it.
All right.
Absolutely.
And again, February 20th, McFarland USA in theaters. You also have another film coming out in the summer. You're a busy man. I like that you're keeping busy.
I'm going to go make a cowboy movie.
Why not?
That's what I'm going to do.
All right. Kevin Costner's, ladies
Kevin
and gentlemen.
Costner, you can do what you want to do.
When we come back, we're talking about Chicago Little League team. They've been stripped of their title.
Yeah.
Why is that? It's sad. It's heartbreaking. Kevin Costner agrees. He shakes his head. We're all upset. We'll talk about it in just a few moments.
Yeah.
You obviously know the story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I